Welcome to No Border Blues with Johnny Bergen and Stephanie Tice, a podcast about international blues artists you should know about and the sometimes surprising hidden blues scenes around the world. Johnny is a Delmark recording artist who regularly tours and collaborates with international blues players. And Stephanie recently produced the No Border Blues Japan CD, the first American compilation of the underground Japanese blues scene. This show is sponsored by Chicago Blues Network, bringing Chicago blues to the world.
And today we are really happy to have Hanna PK, who has a new recording out on VizTone Records. And she is also the first Korean person that we've had on this podcast.
Yes.
And I love your record, Hanna. Welcome to the podcast.
Welcome.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Well, how did you get started with this kind of music?
I actually have watched some of the other episodes, and it's interesting that there are a lot of common things about how I think international artists get into the blues. But my father is a musician. He plays a guitar, so I grew up with a lot of different kind of music that he was into. So in a way, I was fortunate that I got exposed to more variety of music than maybe other Korean kids might have been. And I really I just heard something in the kind of music he was listening to, largely a lot of British rock band and hard rock or little like a stuff that wasn't really a straight up blues, but I always liked them, and that's all I knew about anything that has anything to do with the blues. Um, but then after I moved to America, I kind of have learned more about what that was about, the why exactly why I like that type of music, and then later on I really got into the blues. And one night that I saw a local blues band is when I really kind of found out that, oh, that's what I want to play.
Who was that blues band, or who was your sort of inspiration that you like listening to the most?
So really that significant evening that really changed my path, it was the guy named John Cole, and John Cole Blues Band was playing at just a local bar, and he's passed few years ago. Um, he's just an incredibly talented guy. His guitar just sounds so good. He's a great vocalist too. But he's someone that worked really hard all of his life at an apple orchard, I guess orchard. And so he always he just didn't want to take it on the road. That's just what he wanted to do. But I'm hearing a lot of stories about back in the days. I mean, he still play every night, opening for a lot of the acts that are coming into town. But yeah, so that's the night that really kind of changed my path with this music.
And you ended up going on to play with John Cole too, right?
Yeah, because I approached the keyboardist of the band. So I asked him if he could show me some stuff, and then he would have me sit in, and later on when I learned some stuff. And yeah, I had a few gigs with John, but I so wish that I had known about him or I had met him earlier, because it wasn't many years that I got to spend with him. Yeah, but precious time.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then you went on to play with Joe Beard, and that really impressed me when I found that out, because Joe Beard is a great traditional blues player and kind of a hero of the blues in Rochester.
Yes, and it just that was really my luck, because otherwise, when how would I ever have kind of experienced the real thing from the real bluesman like Joe. And I do find people like him, it's just such a precious thing because it's that generation. And I
Yeah.
think no matter how like we all try, that is just certain sound that's just so truthful because just who they are, where they're from, and their generation. So yeah, getting to play with him has been like a dream come true, really, because when I play with him, it's hard to explain, but it's like almost spiritual. Like it's quite an experience, and we do a lot of duo gigs together lately because a lot of things are a little smaller with COVID and things like that. And I'm really honored that he so far continues to call me for gigs. And he's in his 80s, so it's amazing. He's still performing, looking great, sounding great.
Yeah.
Congratulations. Will you tell us the story of how you ended up hooking up with Kenny Neal, who produced your latest record?
I met him in Memphis when I tried the famous International Blues Challenge a few years ago. There was a little program where you can sign up to meet people from industry. It could be musicians, it could be booking person, or all kind of different people. And I saw Kenny's name because I've been always a fan of him. I signed up to meet him, and I got to meet him like for 5 minutes or something like that. And because I'm not a good salesman, I didn't have any even intention of like telling him who I am, what I do. I was just happy to see him in person. And then that was about it. And then several months later, I met him again at a local festival, and he remembered me, luckily, and he had me sitting with his band, and then that was that. So there was like a second interaction, but I got to be friends on Facebook with him, and that, as much as like I also despise social media too, but once in a while it really does you good because
Yeah.
he just noticed one of the videos that I posted, and he really liked it. So he commented and say, "Hey, I really like what you're doing, and if you like to come down to Baton Rouge to record an album, we can do something." So that was kind of the start of it.
And that's Booga Records in Baton Rouge. And this video
We
is where I
watched
was
it.
going.
Yeah.
This is a video. Tell us where you were in this video.
Yeah, because it's a great one.
Oh, so I even though like maybe this doesn't really show you a good picture of how I live currently in my apartment, but I share a pretty small space with someone, and so I don't have a lot of space, but I'm a keyboardist, so I have like 5 different pianos and organs and amps, and so like I almost have to like sleep under this piano, but so I have a little U-Haul storage to store more pianos. And there's this like a little tiny piano that I guess people used to call it tom-tom piano, but it's like a smaller than the traditional piano, but it's an acoustic piano. The reason I got it is so that I could take it like out on busking or something. So I was playing that piano from my U-Haul storage room because I stopped by, but I felt like playing and nobody was around. And I thought, oh, it's going well, I'll just record it. So I just recorded with my phone.
Yeah,
And that
it's
was
great acoustics and everything.
It's
the
really, yeah, it's
backdrop.
kind of, yeah, I know the orange U-Haul,
It's
the
hilarious.
door, I
It is
like it.
absolutely
Yeah.
hilarious. I think you should put it on Twitter, on the U-Haul Twitter account.
Yes,
Oh, right. Yeah, I should do
Look at
more
all the
of
things
that.
you can do in a U-Haul storage room.
exactly.
Yeah, got me a
exactly.
record deal.
No, I think that is just the greatest story ever,
really
because
is.
it all of a sudden took it to another level and got things rolling.
Yeah.
So congratulations on that.
Congratulations. yeah.
And I wish that Bob Kester was alive to hear you,
Yeah.
because he loves piano players, he loves Curtis Jones, and that was kind of that was sort of your version of the Curtis Jones style, doing Decoration Day. And I encourage listeners here to check that one out, as well as you've got a lot of great originals
Yes, definitely.
on your new record. And
Maybe you could play something for us.
yeah, you want to play something for
Yeah.
us? Play whatever you want.
Sure, I will. Okay. Ever since August 2017, I've got this awful disorder. It keeps me up all night till the morning sun is seen, and it stays by my pillow. I've got this insomnia blues. I'm as tired as one can be. Oh, I've been so restless, and I haven't got no sleep. for the bed? What's the use for the blanket? This old mattress of mine doesn't help me to forget. When you're haunted by memory that you can't rewind, I'm telling you, people, night time's not your friend. I've got this insomnia blues. I'm as tired as one can be. That's why I'm sitting here drinking old whiskey in my bed. If you ever sleep like a dog, you're lucky, I'll tell you why. 'Cause it's no fun to walk and talk every day with sleepy eyes. By the afternoon, you know I can't think straight no more. Since the day's gone, I've been pacing the floor. I've got this insomnia blues. I'm as tired as one can be. I've tossed and turned every night with no one next to me. Insomnia blues.
Wow, girl.
Bravo.
Bravo.
Thank you.
You know, I've been looking over all of your lyrics. You're just such a wonderful, clever writer. I just want you to know that.
Oh, thank you.
I love some of the lines you come up with, like "It's been raining in my heart." This sorrow's soaked right through my clothes. I mean, it's really great imagery and very blues in context. You know, it tells a story. So I just wanted to say kudos for the fabulous writing. And
Oh,
you know,
thank
you
you
were
so
born
much.
in Korea, so I'm assuming your first language is Korean?
Yes, yes, and I really couldn't speak English well before. I grew up there all the way up through the college. So
Wow.
so I moved to America as an adult person. Often,
Wow.
yeah, people think I might have moved a little earlier, but yeah.
Yeah, and you have such a handle on imagery in English. So I'm always interested, as you know, as we interview people all over the world, how they take their first language and translate to English and come up with the imagery. Do you ever write in Korean, or do you think first in Korean and then translate to English? How is that process for you as a
Yeah,
writer?
it was interesting for me to hear from other international artists about on the same question, and I
Mhm.
found that question really interesting myself, through your other interviews, and similar to some of the artists that I watched, um, it's kind of different. Like Korean as a language, Korean and English are two different languages, like so different that I I have a hard time writing the same song in two languages. So I either write in Korean or English, and those songs are kind of different. Um, so yeah, I either start by thinking in an English kind of a way, I think, or I start writing a song in Korean kind of a way.
Wow.
Except there's a one song that I did that I ended up getting kind of like a little award locally it was my only attempt at making a choral arrangement of my original tune. And that one is my only song where I wrote some verses in English and some verses in Korean.
That's wonderful. That is great.
Yeah, and I'm
Also,
not classically trained, just so that I have to say it because so many times people think I am.
So did you teach yourself piano then?
Oh, well, when I was a little kid, I took some piano lessons. But it's so interesting being an Asian person playing the piano instrument, especially in Rochester, New York. There's a quite well-known music school, Eastman Music School. So often people just assume that I go there or I must, be really good at classical music or something like that. So I just it's because I mentioned about choral composition. I actually don't know much about it. Just to be clear,
So you're really just carving your own path. I mean, you took some lessons and then you sort of worked with the piano yourself and learned how to play blues kind of on your own. And you're not fitting into the typical stereotypes.
And I wish I kept up with some of the training because I would like to have some more chops and better handle on articulation and things like that. I'm working on it, but um, G has been a really great mentor for me ever since. So I have to give a lot of credit to him. And even though I don't know a lot of piano players in town, it's interesting. You just work with a great musicians, whether they play guitar, whatever they play. I think you just learn so much from other musicians. So I think it's not that I learned it on my own, for sure.
I gotta say, I love that song "No One Will Ever Know."
yeah.
And
Oh, really?
yeah, and
Thanks.
and I really like 2 and 4 too.
Yeah, 2 and 4. I was just
That's a
reading.
great one.
Yeah.
Maybe I should have asked you guys to pick songs that I could play. I had a hard time picking, and it's interesting about No One Will Ever Know because I wasn't sure how you would feel about it because it's not really classic blues tune, but it's about a blues musician. So I won't say who it's about, but I was inspired by his story. And
Yes, and you took that as a you wrote a sad story, or you wrote about a sad story, and you can write a song about anything,
Yeah.
anything that sticks out to you and piques your interest. So I think people really like that,
Yeah.
and you have a great future just as a songwriter for.
Definitely.
I mean, even if you didn't play at all and you were just a songwriter, I mean, you'd be a great songwriter.
Yeah.
oh, thank you.
You
Wow,
are.
thank you.
When it comes to blues and the lyrics, it has to not be too complicated, but tell a really colorful story, and you do that really well.
Oh,
And
thank you. It really
we were
means
just
a lot.
I've been reading them all morning and picking out just different lines I like. But would you like to play one more? Would you like to either play the one you were talking about or 2 and 4? Either one of those.
Oh, twin for needs more warm up, so I'll just play The One We'll Ever Know.
Okay, if you
so
don't
yeah,
mind, that'd be great.
Well, I wrote this song because locally there was an event where they had this event where No One Will Ever Know was the title of the song, and anybody can write the song, and then they picked the best 20 songs and did a concert. So everybody played a song called No One Will Ever Know. And
wow.
and then they do different title each year. And that title kind of spoke to me because I'm not someone that I'm just gonna write a song all the time. Like I don't really write a lot, but it spoke to me, and the inspiration was there's this very well-known blues musician that you two definitely know and even have played with, but he seems like the happiest guy on stage. Just he makes everybody so happy. You get so lifted when you see him. But I was very surprised when I learned about some of the dark past or difficulties he has gone through. And it's just amazing. That just reminds me of the strength of people, the resilience of people. And then I kind of had to make the song into also sort of my stories, of course, not an exact reflection of his life because I'm singing it. So it's kind of a mixed uh, between his stories and my stories, and so no one will ever know.
why you're here. No one ever knew. Now you pick up your guitar and get on the road. Night after night, you give them rock and roll. As long as you smile and show them a good time, no one will ever know. Leaving for the city, 'cause you just can't wait to be a stranger, and no one will stop you from finding your pride. So won't you have no shame in your trunk? Now the guilt will stay behind. So off the road you go, and no one will ever know. Once your mother was the prettiest girl in town, but the years of all the hustles now no one recognized. But don't you be looked down on, don't you get patronized, 'cause no one will ever know. Leaving for the city, 'cause you just can't wait to be a stranger, and no one will stop you from finding your pride. So won't you have no shame in your trunk? Now the guilt will stay behind. So off the road you go, and no one will ever know. Now the guilt you stay behind. So off the road I go, and no one will ever know.
Well, have,
Thanks
hopefully
for
that's
taking
not.
a request, but I
Hopefully
like them
that's
all.
not-
It's all
I
good.
like them all. So I wanted to ask you, do you have a following in Korea, or have you ever toured there, or do you have a desire to go back to Korea
And
Um,
perform.
and perform?
So before I started performing, I had a different kind of job. I used to go there almost once a year, especially when my mom was still around, because it was just so necessary, and I wanted to. But I haven't been there for a while, and then when I was ready, and then COVID happened, and I just really haven't. So I really haven't done a lot of music stuff in Korea, and I love to actually. Kenny and I were talking about meeting up with some Korean blues artists, and I wanted to do that in Memphis in January. The IBC just got postponed, but it's interesting. I think I get a little bit more nervous towards Korean audience, almost like I should be more nervous to American audience because I'm Korean, but it kind of puts a filter almost in a way. Like I can be brave because even though I am American too, but because I became a citizen a few years ago, but to Korean audience, I feel like there's just it's like so direct to me, and so I think I'm more nervous about opening myself up to Korean artists. Like I kind of I'm scared of it or something.
Well, when we finish with this, we'll be sure to tag Korean blues artists and Korean blues, so it gets
Like I
shown
said,
in
be
Korea.
gentle, please.
But that'd be
It kind
great.
of reminds me of when Aki was about to do his Bollywood blues. I mean, he pretty much thought, okay, all the blues people will hate me and all the Indian people will hate me, and then I'll have to just leave this world, like so.
But it ended
You
up
felt the same
opposite.
way,
Yeah.
So.
There's a lot of pressure
But
there.
he did it, and everything is, the world didn't end.
Yeah.
Right. I think I need to make that step at some point. And I follow some Korean blues artists, and when I lived there, I had no idea about the scene or anything like that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
I'd love
I'd be
to.
really interested in the blues scene there, so we'll have to DM back and forth some artists there because we're
Yeah,
always
there's some
interested
good
in
artists.
connecting.
Yeah, that I've been following. It's very interesting.
Yeah, great.
Okay, I got to ask you about your guitar playing. Just a little bit. Anything you want to say about that?
Oh, Johnny, you're so. I just love the way you encourage people so much. I gotta just spend more time on it. The thing is, I love it. I just think that something you can say on the guitar. I mean, each instrument is so different, and I always love blues guitar. So hopefully I'll get to the point where I can convincingly play it.
Well, I think you already do, but let me just mention, like for our
audience.
listeners, that I actually met Hanna and became aware of her music. She was in my Chicago Blues Network Zoom class to learn some guitar, and that's how we met.
Yeah.
And then she's like, "Oh, well, I play piano with Joe Beard," and I'm like, "What?
Whoa.
Are you play with Joe Beard?" And
it went from there.
And anyway, so
That's
Hanna
great.
is learning guitar and you have a great version of I'm in the Mood for Love by John Lee Hooker. You got that.
Yeah.
You got that real good. So
That's a great song. You really have all the good materials you cover. Just so fun.
well,
Yeah, I
stick with
learned a
it.
lot of artists because of the lessons too that I wasn't aware of too.
Stick with it. You're going to be a triple threat. You're going to be a singer, piano player, and play guitar too. So that's
and write great lyrics.
that's like really amazing. Okay, the last thing I'd like to ask you, and this might be kind of tricky, but in the beginning of the interview, you were talking about how you were listening to your dad's music and stuff, and you sort of got drawn into the blues, and then you said something like you didn't know then like why you liked the blues. It sounds like you had to really think about like, why do I like the blues? And I wanted to ask you about that. So what do you think?
I think it's that there are a lot of elements of blues as music. Obviously, technical term, some of the chord changes or some of the line that makes it bluesy, or all these different elements. But so I think the kind of music my dad was listening to had the elements, but not all, not entirely. Just might have a one or two elements, or some song might be 12 bar, sort of kind of changes, or some song. So I like something about it, but I didn't know why I like those songs and what's common in all those songs. So I try to avoid mentioning some of the artists my dad was listening to, because I don't like to now give attention to those artists versus like artists that I look up to. But there are certain songs that these artists cover that when I listened to the original song, it was like, whoa, that's what it was. So to me, like it was much more exciting and soulful and intense when I heard the original versions of those songs that I heard, or things like that.
Wow.
And I think as I get older, life experience and things like that, I just get drawn into something straight ahead, something soulful, something honest, something intense, like you don't hold it back. It's like, we never know tomorrow. So I think I drawn onto all those aspects of blues music.
My big projects next year is I'm starting to do the No Border Blues, the movie, the film.
Whoa.
And one of the things we're going to be doing is traveling, once you can travel again, and interviewing and listening to music all around the world. So I was going to ask you to think about this, if you'd be interested in writing a song called No Border Blues.
Oh, yeah, I could try. Give it a shot.
Just think about it, give it a shot,
Mhm.
It would be featured with with the movie, of course, but there's a lot to say about No Border Blues, and you're a perfect example of why it's been so inspirational for us to interview people that started, somewhere else in life and ended up really loving and embracing the blues and writing about it. So
Oh
nice.
yeah, maybe I can try to write the way Johnny and I both can sing and play or something like
Yes. And then we'll go on tour around the world.
Yeah.
that. Yay! Something to look
Yes.
forward to. I need it.
Hannah,
Hannah,
we're fans. and
Yes.
Thank you for being on the
Oh,
show.
you are so kind. I'm sorry that I was nervous today.
No. It's fabulous, really.
You did great. And anything you'd like to say to some of your new fans?
Oh, if you are still here, then and I can say I love you. No, really, thank you. I appreciate your support, and I hope to meet you in person.
And where are you on social media? You have a website, I know. Tell the fans about.
Yes, as most of musicians do, I try to be on most major things so people could find me. Only thing is my name is spelled a little differently. It's HANNAPK.com.
Okay.
And often it's misspelled, so as long
Okay.
as
HannahPK.com.
Right. We'll
Yes.
put the links in. Well, thank you so much, Hannah, and be well and stay safe.
And the name of your new record on VizTone, which came out in November, is
Blues all over my shoes.
Blues All Over My Shoes.
Shoes.
Joint collaboration with Booga Records, which is Kenny Neal's label out of Baton Rouge, and VizTone Label Group.
Great.
Rock on, Hannah PK.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. It got dark outside.
Yeah.
This has been No Border Blues with Johnny Bergen and Stephanie Tice.